Tonight, in this newscast, the wife of the pilot whose plane disappeared in the forest of Bangam, southwest region of the country, has testified that it was her husband's burning desire to fight or combat poaching that cost his life. And also in this newscast, a firefighting brigade, the first of its kind, installed in the southwest region of the country. But would it be able to meet the needs of the entire population? We provide answers in this newscast. And also in the second part of this news, we are going to be talking about how La Francophonie has been beneficial to the country of Mr. Biya. Stay with us for the details. Good evening, viewers. We thank you so much for being part of us in this edition of the news on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away with the nation's capital, Yaoundé, to talk about the Secretary General of La Francophonie that today entered the third day of her official visit in the country. Michael Jean toured around some institutions in the nation's capital alongside some state officials where she promised to help promote democracy and address climate change in the country. Strengthening the ties between Cameroon and the organization is one of the raison d'etre of her visit to the country of Mr. Biya. She was today received in audience by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Philemon Yang. She visited the Refuse Treatment Center, still in Yaoundé, and also the headquarters of the elections governing body, Elekam. Now, the president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, that is Professor Maurice Kamto, has called for the immediate return of the newborn baby who disappeared in a police clinic in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Professor Maurice Kamto condemned the act with strong terms and said that it is a big blow to the peace and security that Cameroon enjoys. The child got missing 2 weeks ago, shortly after the mother gave birth, and efforts to find the baby has so far been futile. She was chased away from the police clinic where she was awaiting the return of her baby by the security forces. That is the president of the MRC there speaking in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. That was close to 16 days after the child disappeared in a police clinic. Now, the wife of the U.S. pilot who died in a plane crash in Tombel, southwest region of Cameroon, says that the journey of her husband was to save wild animals from poachers in the United States of America and in Africa in general. Paola has commended efforts made so far by the national and international community to find her missing husband. And William Fitzpatrick, that's the name of the pilot, left Nigeria for Congo via Cameroon. That was on the 22nd of June 2014. And for Hansen Chanji comes back to the circumstances surrounding his disappearance.
The former U.S. Peace Corps volunteer was on board the plane Cessna 172 from Nigeria to Congo via Cameroon on June 22, 2014. The flight map of Bill Fitzpatrick began in Kano, Nigeria, where he was expected to arrive Douala. He never reached his destination. His last contact with the Douala Air Traffic Control Tower is said to have been at about 10 p.m. that fateful day. Despite intensive aerial and ground search coordinated by U.S. State Department as well as Cameroonian authorities, he was still not found. Until last Thursday, when 3 youth of the Eboko Bajo village found in Tombel, subdivision of the Kupe-Mwandunguba division southwest, met the wreckage deep inside the Bajo forest. Bill Fitzpatrick was a U.S. citizen and resident pilot at the Ozala-Kokwa National Park in Congo-Brazzaville, and his mission was to stop poaching in Africa's wild animals by serving as a pilot. Bill Fitzpatrick was a park ranger and airplane pilot for 25 years, transporting people by air, boat, and by vehicles depending on the remote conditions in the U.S. and 2 parks in Africa. Bill Fitzpatrick was a specialist with government liaison, outdoor education, commercial and instrument air pilot, and navigator. He was equally a cliff climber. He had a vocal and educative voice for saving wildlands throughout the world by working in a variety of national and international parks. He left behind his wife, Paola, 3 children, Mary, Matthew, and Cody, to warn him. The wife recently wrote that the flight was not a singular trip for Bill. It was part of a lifelong commitment to the park, the Peace Corps, and the conservation in general across the US and Africa. However, the Cameroonian government, through the Assistant Divisional Officer for Tombel, Bellinger, is refusing media men to go to the site of the incident, contrary to what happens worldwide when media men are given access to take images of plane crash. Observers are worried there might be something going on fishy at the Eboko Bajo village.
And just to know that the wreckage of the missing plane was discovered last week Thursday at the Boko Bajo village in the Kupe Manenguba division of the southwest region of Cameroon. Now, Cameroonians continue to show solidarity and support to defense forces fighting against Boko Haram in the far north region of the country. 150 million francs CFA is the amount that was donated by elites in the south region of Cameroon alongside foodstuff. The governor, Jules Marcelin Janga, promised to channel the money to the right headquarters, as we hear in the following report with Jacques Ekwekinge.
More than 150 million francs CFA was the amount collected by elites of the South region, including foodstuff, that were recently handed over to the governor of the South region as their support for the Cameroon military fighting against Boko Haram in the far north region. During the ceremony, which took place in Samilima in the Ja and Lobo division, was marked by a minute of silence to remember those soldiers who lost their lives in the fight against the terrorist group. The different orators who took to the rostrum during the ceremony condemned with strong terms the terrorist act perpetrated by Boko Haram in the far north region and even the acts of terrorism being carried out by rebels in the east region. For the different speakers, this was just a gesture to show that the people of the South region are behind the head of state in his efforts in bringing to an end the activities of the terrorist groups. While symbolically receiving the gift, the governor of the South region, Jules Marcelin Jaga, assured the donors that the money shall be deposited in the state treasury for transparency. An ecumenical church service was also celebrated, during which the different church leaders condemned the barbaric and inhuman acts being perpetrated by Boko Haram. The ceremony, which was attended by politicians, administrative, religious and traditional authorities, members of government, parliamentarians, senators, and a cross-section of the population drawn from the four corners of the South region, ended with a solidarity walk in support of the defense forces and the population of the far north and east regions.
And just to add that the contribution to fight against Boko Haram is coming at the time when Catholic bishops are meeting in the nation's capital to see how to fight against terrorism, and also top on the agenda is family welfare. We shall be keeping you updated. Now, investigations are on the way to uncover the brain behind the brutal killing of a staff sergeant that's still in the nation's capital. The mutilated body of Sergeant Fuda was discovered behind a bakery that was in Yaoundé, few meters away from the municipal lake. He is son of General Joseph Fuda, the special advisor of the President of the Republic of Cameroon, and equally a former mayor or former element of the Rapid Intervention Battalion. He was amongst the dozens of soldiers deployed recently to fight against Boko Haram in the far north region of the country. Up to now, the reason behind his passing remains unknown. For the first time in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon, a firefighting unit has been created. The governor, Bernardo Kalabilaiwu, installed the unit, urged officials to be prompt to calls to save lives and properties. From Limbe, Davison Maimo has more.
The firefighting unit of the Limbe City Council is ready to get to work. After more than 2 years, the government delegate to the Limbe City Council, Motanga Andrew Monjimba, promised the population and putting in place a firefighting unit in Limbe. Sources say the unit, which is the first of its kind in Cameroon, as there is no council in the country that has one, has spent close to a year undergoing training with firefighting experts on putting out fire and other disasters. The firefighting van plus 2 inter-transport bus for the use of transporting peoples and students at a very low and affordable price for parents have all been provided by the Council of Commerce in France as part of a 13-year relationship between the Limbe City Council and the city of Kolma.
Thanks to the authority of Kolma City, who are giving enough room to this cooperation, and a message of congratulations to the authorities of the city of Limbe, the government delegate and his team, the senior GO who is the supervisory authority, a message of encouragement that they should continue to work hard to render this cooperation fruitful.
This firefighting van with a capacity of 30,000 liters. Even though the unit is going operational after much damages have been done by fire in Limbe, but like a Cameroonian proverb says, it is better to be late than never. This firefighting van with a capacity of 30,000 liters and a well-trained unit is to oversee every fire disaster and other disasters within the city of Limbe and its environs.
And the Minister of Arts and Culture has expressed her wish for the Limbe Arts and Culture Festival to go international. Amatu Tumuna was speaking in Limbe at the end of the second edition of Festac, as Davison Maimo once again tells us more.
For close to a week, the city of Limbe has been the center of attraction in the country after the Minister of Art and Culture, Amatu Tumuna, officially opened the Festival of Art and Culture dubbed Festac last week. Organized by the Limbe City Council, every day since the 4th, the population of this seaside resort city and visitors have been treated to cultural and traditional display from almost all the tribes in the country, not leaving out the traditional and cultural display of neighboring countries such as Nigeria, Ghana, Benin and Togo, by the nationals who reside in Limbe.
If Festac can bring people then together, everything they find.
I like the place, the climate, and especially the culture. That's all I can say. Thanks.
I came to watch all the cultures, how they're displaying with their traditional dances.
This is very interesting. This is always culture at its best. I left right from far to come and witness this. I would say I'm not disappointed. The Northwest has, I think it's a melting point of Cameroonian culture.
So I'm happy seeing different cultures and meeting different people.
A part of culture and traditional display, the Festac event ground is equally host of different kinds of artistic works, showcasing some of the fine artistic works that Cameroon is producing, thereby promulgating the very essence of this event.
Everybody can get the cultural diversification because it teaches our children who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow exactly what culture is all about.
With a lot of satisfaction from the city dwellers and visitors. The evening period of the day has also been a good one, with much relaxation as artists in Cameroon population with a live musical concert.
And in news out of Cameroon, over 400 migrants are feared dead in the Mediterranean Sea. Close to 6,000 were rescued after they attempted to migrate illegally from North African countries to Italy. Let's have the details with Euro News.
Nearly 6,000 migrants have been rescued from the Mediterranean Sea over the past 5 days. On Wednesday, 400 others were feared drowned as they tried to make the perilous crossing between Libya and Italy in rickety and fragile vessels. The International Organization for Migration says more than 500 migrants have died trying to reach Italy since the start of 2015. That's nearly 10 times last year's figures for the same period. Many local Italians are concerned. We are calling on the Italian government to help us with these migrant arrivals, she says, not because we are racist, but because we don't have the facilities or means to help these people. This local man says, I am sorry for these poor people because they come from countries that are at war, but I think our town cannot welcome them. He says, I'm a local resident and I've been out of work for over 2 years. I'll be forced to leave soon.
Fra un po' sono costretto a partire.
On Tuesday, as more migrants were plucked to safety from the Mediterranean, over 1,000 authors sent out a letter to the President of the European Parliament saying that people who need protection at the borders of the EU are being treated as enemies.
And that brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Time for us to meet our guests. Tonight, viewers, we are going to be talking about the visit of the Secretary General of La Francophonie. Mikai Zhang has been in Cameroon since 2 days ago, and she's talking about the fight against Boko Haram, denouncing the kidnapping of some schoolgirls in Nigeria, as well as other factors that can help promote democracy, education in the country. Joining us tonight on Talking Point is not only a legal mind, but also a political analyst, Barrister Agbo Ashiwi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening to me.
Good evening to you once again. Let's start it right away from 1991 when Cameroon joined La Francophonie to date. What do you think the country can write home about?
Well, La Francophonie is the francophone version of a gentleman's club, an association of countries that were former colonies of France, countries that want to promote the French culture, and countries that are interested in using the French language. So you may be surprised to see a country like the USA being a member of La Francophonie. Many people ask the question, but why? In America, you have the state of Louisiana, I think, that is French-speaking. So they are rightful members of La Francophonie. La Francophonie is an organization that aims at improving relations, linguistic ties, cultural ties, economic ties among the member countries. So since creation, Cameroon has been benefiting through educational programs. You see, the bid to improve on the language power of the citizens of member countries. The Francophonie offers language scholarships and things like that, seminars and all those type of things for the training of citizens of the member countries. We have always been benefiting. You have cultural exchange programs through the French, what used to be the French Cultural Center. And, well, they take people from here who go visiting elsewhere and all that. Economics as well, because you had the Secretary General. They want to improve on economic relations between member countries.
So can you give a pass mark to the achievements of La Francophonie in Cameroon?
It's difficult to give them a pass mark because it's very difficult to earmark any economic project as such that can be identified as a La Francophonie project. It's very difficult because they act through member countries. So you see, a member country that has been some sort of pushed forward by La Francophonie will be seen doing direct business with Cameroon. But La Francophonie itself cannot come do business. So it's not easy to say, well, Francophonie has done this in economics or that. So it's not very easy to give them a pass.
So concretely, we cannot really tell how much La Francophonie has achieved
I don't think
political-wise, do you think that there is anything to write home about?
Well, the most recent achievement that I can give them is the rhetoric I heard that Madame the Secretary General was saying she's against people who want to stay forever on the throne. Well, I don't know whether she is well placed to tell member countries what they should do or not do about who should rule the country or not.
That is talking about the promotion of democracy.
Yeah, promotion
one of the goals of La Francophonie.
I don't think they have lessons to give member countries. I don't think so.
It's not her place, according to you.
It's a bit overstretched.
Now, the visit of Mikai Zhang is second in Africa ever since she was chosen to head the organ last November 2014. Why the choice of Cameroon this time, Barrister?
Well, you know, Cameroon is just like Canada, where she's a natural citizen. And I think she will be more at ease in Cameroon because just as I said, having that Canadian origin, you see, well, Haitian Canadian origin, she's used to the French and English there, and she wants to, maybe use Cameroon as a place where she can reorganize herself well to start working.
Apart from that, what do you think that might have urged her? Don't you think, as many observers are saying, that the French culture is being threatened recently in the country? Don't you think that that could be one of the reasons why she chose to come to Cameroon?
Well, I don't think the French, the danger to the French culture is something that lasts as of yesterday. We all know that the world over, French culture doesn't really ring a bell. So it is not new for the French culture to be threatened. If she is coming to Cameroon, I think it's simply because she's looking for some place where, some fertile ground, some place where she thinks her ideas will find fertility, and she'll have people to help her to actually carry out her program.
So what concretely can Francophonie, apart from the achievements that we talked about, what concretely can Francophone bring to Cameroon in the days ahead? Well,
as I said, the Francophonie can help Cameroon because this is a gentleman's club just like the Commonwealth. And they created Francophonie because of the success of the Commonwealth. You see, many countries in the world are members of Commonwealth. So these Francophone countries were feeling very isolated. So they wanted to come together to have their own association too. So we can benefit from this. I'm still to see how the Francophonie will come up with their own banking system. I mean, there are banks that can grant aids if they can. Since they're talking economics, I want to see them give up some financial assistance that can help these countries reduce the tendency to go towards IMF.
So a lot more to do in future for La Francophonie. Now, Mikai Zhang said in Yaoundé that the fight against terrorism, Cameroon would not battle against Boko Haram alone. What can La Francophonie concretely do to fight against Boko Haram, briefly?
Well, La Francophonie does not have an army. But it does have member countries that do have armies, that have equipment, that can provide money. So by bringing together the members who have the potential to help, the Francophonie can help Cameroon to get a lot of help from the international community.
Well, thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
You're welcome.
To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the news. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.